As you guys can see, I am all kinds of marked out today, and we are here to talk about Monday Night Raw, the 30th anniversary from last night. So let's get into this video. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Noah Nation Wrestling YouTube channel. And before we get into this video, I want to remind you that every single Noah Nation Wrestling video is also available on audio platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, and more. You can go check it out in the description box below. But yeah, Monday Night Raw, the 30th anniversary from Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia last night. I was in attendance. Here's the t-shirt that I picked up. It's the only thing I picked up from the merch stand. I got this in from Chalkline last week, but I'm all kinds of marked out today for Monday Night Raw. And what a show last night, man. A lot of fun. Listen, it wasn't a perfect show. No. Is any WWE show perfect? Not at all. But it had a ton of great moments on this show, especially the first hour alone is one of the greatest first hours of Monday Night Raw of all time. I mean, literally from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, like just amazing stuff. And the rest of the show was good as well, and we'll talk about everything. But just overall, man, super fun time. I will be playing a couple clips here and there and interrupting myself throughout the video as we're showing it. But yeah, awesome time last night. So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to break down the bulk of Monday Night Raw 30. So of course, we kicked off the show with a special appearance from Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart, who made his way out there as well. Nice little fun surprise to, well, not surprise, we knew he was going to be there, but fun appearance to kick off the show, which then led into the Monday Night Raw intro, which had a bunch of epic moments from over the years. And then we kicked off the show, and we kicked off the show in what better fashion than, of course, the trial of Sami Zayn. Originally, as we, I already had filmed my Raw preview video and talked about how it was going to be a Bloodline Roman Reigns acknowledgement ceremony, but then they swapped it over the weekend to the trial of Sami Zayn. I didn't have time to go redo the whole video, so I just left it. But the trial of Sami Zayn is what we ended up getting last night, and my God, what what a freaking segment this was to kick off Monday Night Raw, man. I think literally, basically, between this and the tag team title match, that was probably what, the first 45 minutes of Raw. Like, this segment alone took up, I think, the first half hour, and I'm not complaining because it was definitely, like, even though, I mean, the first hour was just amazing, but all the Bloodline stuff, I mean, the best, story part of the show. Obviously, Undertaker showing up was also, we'll talk about it. But, I mean, just every little detail here that was portrayed throughout this segment. Of course, you had Roman Reigns sitting at the head of the table, Usos on the other side, Paul Heyman and Solo standing up, and Sami Zayn on the other side of the table. And Paul Heyman just destroyed Sami Zayn, had enough of them, showed case A, B, C, and D as to why Sami Zayn should be kicked out of the Bloodline. And just such beautiful storytelling here. Sami Zayn just lost for words, just like, I got nothing. I'm not even going to defend myself here. And basically just ready to accept, his fate. And Roman Reigns selling the fact that Sami Zayn didn't want to defend himself and just screaming Solo and slamming his mic on the table was freaking awesome, man. And then Solo about to hit Sami Zayn with the Samoan spike, only to be interrupted by Jey Uso, was freaking awesome. And then, for obvious reasons, all the history throughout the story between Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, and how how Sami has won Jey Uso over. I mean, it's just been great. And then Jey Uso being the one to stand up for Sami Zayn and showcase A, B, C, D, and E as to why Sami Zayn should still be in the Bloodline, and just going off, not going off, but like, just talking to Roman Reigns, putting the case up for Sami Zayn. It was freaking awesome, man. This segment was, we've talked about it on the channel, this whole Bloodline Sami Zayn thing has been the best part of WWE television for months, and this segment just like reiterated that once again. And between this and the ending of the tag team title match, it's just gonna make it even more heartbreaking when they pull the trigger and the Bloodline just beats the ever-living you-know-what out of Sami Zayn. Because last night was just one of those like heartfelt moments for the Usos and Sami Zayn, or really Jey and Sami Zayn, to just bring that bond closer together. And when they finally pull the trigger, it's gonna be a Raw moment or a SmackDown moment in itself whenever they do it, or a Royal Rumble moment. Could be this weekend. I don't know. I don't think it'll be this weekend, but it remains to be seen. But obviously, Roman Reigns ended up being like, "Listen, Sami, you're in still for now, but we'll see this Saturday." Talking about the Royal Rumble, Roman's going to face KO, of course, which we will be making our Royal Rumble predictions probably Thursday. We'll be posting those, so stay tuned for that later this week. And then basically this just led into our tag team title match, but just what a way to kick off the show. That entire segment was phenomenal. And then this led into our Raw tag team title match, the Usos versus Dominic and Damian Priest of the Judgment Day, which was a really fun matchup. I noticed Dominic Mysterio, he might have had him before, but I just, and maybe I just haven't noticed, but I noticed he had like the tassels on the side of his tights, which is very early Eddie Guerrero days. I thought that was a nice little touch there to the gear. I don't know if that's something new and I just haven't noticed it before, or something old and I haven't noticed it before, but I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, this is a really fun matchup for the specifically Raw Tag Team titles, and obviously, we were talking about in the Raw preview, Raw 30th anniversary preview, why did they make this match? Is it just because they have a big match on the show? Are they splitting the tag titles right now? Like, what's the situation here? And I predicted that we might have gotten, Judgment Day winning the titles here, and I thought maybe it was going to be because Sami Zayn was going to accidentally cost the Usos the titles, which was only going to make, matters worse. And I especially thought that after Roman said he didn't want to see Sami until Saturday, because I figured if Sami cost the Usos the titles by accident, here, then he doesn't have to show up on Friday. We don't even have to, so we don't have to have that interaction just yet. The Rumble could come, something can go down there, and then come next week, it could be this big blow up. That's where I thought we were heading. We still might be heading towards the second half of that, but obviously the Usos ended up retaining the tag team titles because Jimmy Uso went down with an injury. Obviously storyline wise here, the ref threw up the X. It was just beautifully done. And a great way to like signify for a second like shit's going down by throwing up the X and whatnot. But then obviously we ended up having the story come into play with Sami Zayn offering himself to team up with Jey Uso and finish the matchup. And it looked like they were gonna have Sami Zayn then get pinned, which I thought was gonna be, kind of same situation there. Sami Zayn does end up costing the Usos the tag team titles because he got pinned. And I really thought that's where we were heading for a second. But then they ended up winning the titles, man. Retaining the titles, I should say. Sami Zayn and Jey Uso hitting the 1D on Dominic to retain the gold. It was great ending of the matchup, really fun match, and it just wrapped up the whole, like I said, first 45 minutes of the show beautifully with all the Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns stuff. And then after the matchup, I believe Jey had both of the Raw tag team titles, correct me if I'm wrong, and Sami was holding both of the SmackDown tag team titles, and you saw Sami eyeing up those titles. So I think obviously that was done on purpose, little planting the seeds there for Sami Zayn. Man, I kind of want these titles. It very much reminded me of like Batista looking at Triple H's world title in 2004, like, damn, I want this thing for myself. So I think that was done completely on purpose, obviously, to plant the seeds for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos down the line at WrestleMania. And when they're going to pull the trigger on the turn, it's got to be soon, especially if they're going to do Sami versus Roman at Elimination Chamber in Montreal, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is only 3 weeks from this weekend. I might be wrong, but the point is, it's sometime in February, so it's coming up quick. So I don't know when they're going to do the Sami Zayn, bloodline turn, but it remains to be seen. But what a way to kick off the show. Everything was done beautifully, and just so much more layers added onto this already. Awesome story that has been Sami Zayn, the Bloodline, Kevin Owens. All of it has just been A1. We then had LA Knight in the ring. We got a couple of SmackDown appearances on the show. LA Knight, Bray Wyatt, Imperium, Charlotte Flair later on in the show. But LA Knight was in there just talking about the Bray Wyatt match at the Rumble, running down some legends. Nobody's gonna stop him. Whatever he was saying, typical, in a great way. LA Knight heel promo, and he gets interrupted by The Undertaker. And not only, listen, if we got The Undertaker, like, awesome, that's one thing. So not only, though, did we get The Undertaker, then the music switches and we get the American Badass Undertaker on the motorcycle, riding his way down to the ring. And oh my god, what a pop, what a moment it was. Like I just said, having Undertaker there, we knew he was going to be there, was one thing. Having the dead man would have been sick. But having that switch over to American Badass Taker, I think it was way better. Like, than just the dead man coming out there and doing his long entrance and stuff. Just having Undertaker come out there and ride the motorcycle down for the first time in front of an audience. And how long? Like, obviously he did it at WrestleMania 36 for the Boneyard match, but I don't need to explain to you. Obviously that was not like a live thing. So I don't know when the last time, maybe 2003. I guess I don't think unless I'm forgetting something, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. So yeah, I mean, almost 20 years exactly. 20 years in probably November. But point is, it's been a long ass time since Undertaker rode the motorcycle down to the ring in front of a live crowd. So it was awesome, man. And obviously this led to LA Knight fleeing the ring, went off on The Undertaker, only for Bray Wyatt's music to hit, and he kind of chases him back to the ring, and then you all know what happened from there. Undertaker went to chokeslam LA Knight, but instead passes him over to Bray Wyatt, and Bray hits him with the Sister Abigail. Very nice passing of the torch moment, if you will, something that should have happened almost 10 years ago, but, you know, Vince McMahon. But it's nice that we had that little moment there. I very much like the use of the legends on this show. Pretty much all of them were involved with current talent, and, you know, Undertaker kind of gave that passing of the torch, like I said, to Bray Wyatt. DX was out there. They had the moment with Imperium, which we'll talk about, which set up the six-man tag. There's no legends beating up new guys, or, you know, just getting their shit in or anything like that. Like, everyone was there, and all the, you know, a lot of the big names that were there and used with current guys, and you know, made the situations better, if that makes sense. So I really liked this whole segment here, and the whole thing between Undertaker and Bray Wyatt crossing paths. I thought that was great. And I thought this was some nice little build towards the Rumble this Sunday as well, while also getting, you know, I hate to sound like a mark here, but I already look like one, to really just get in a Raw moment, man. It was awesome. So, probably the best surprise of the night, probably my favorite thing of the night was Undertaker riding down to the ring on that motorcycle. Definitely it is a moment I will never forget. We were supposed to get the Becky Lynch steel cage match, which the match itself, I was looking forward to a little bit, because I haven't been enjoying the feud. So I thought, well, A, we're going to get a good matchup here, and 2, it should be the blow off of the feud. But evidently, because of time restraints, they just did this angle where Damage Control beat up Becky and the match didn't start. I thought that was completely idiotic. I don't know who, it was because the Bloodline segment went over time, or is that what people are saying, or something like that? Who timed out this show? Because I'm pretty sure somebody, or like not a lot of people on social media, and I haven't watched the show back or anything, so I don't know, but evidently after the US title match, like, Raw basically just cut out right away. Like, there was no time to breathe after they did the whole thing with Brock and stuff like that. So I don't know what the hell happened last night when it comes to time and stuff like that. But if anything, I don't know why we cut the entire Bayley versus Becky Lynch match when there's a pointless match between Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair and Sonya Deville on this show, which could have been cut down into just the promo beforehand and then left it at that. Kevin Owens, I know he's got the match with Roman Reigns on Sunday, but, like, I didn't need him going out there and stunning The Miz twice and just cutting a promo on Roman. Again, you know, big fight on Sunday, you know, main event outside of the Rumble matches, but they could have cut that, could have cut the Bianca and Sonya Deville match. That's at least 10, 12 minutes right there between all that stuff. I'm just saying, there was other times on the show where they could have, you know, cut something out. And even though the APA segments backstage with you know, Corbin and JBL and the whole poker tournament or whatever they had going on, even though they were cool little segments, entertaining, got some more legends on the show, again, you know, you could have just cut something like that. I'm just saying, like, there was other places on this show to cut time instead of just cutting an entire steel cage match, which was one of the marquee matches on this show. Now, not only did we not have the advertised steel cage match last night, which was kind of a bummer, now we still have Bayley versus Becky Lynch with unfinished business. And what are they going to run back the steel cage? Then that would just make them all look stupid, because Damage Control already found a way to, you know, beat up Becky inside the cage. The cage was meant to, you know, obviously people can climb in and out, but still the overall thing is, well, it's meant to keep Damage Control out, right? It's meant to keep Io Sky and Dakota Kai from getting involved. So now we had the steel cage there last night, and Damage Control just got in there, locked themselves in with Becky, and beat the hell out of her and just left. We got no match, and they completely just used the cage to their advantage. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a stupid situation in my opinion. And now we just, like I said, it's Bayley and Becky Lynch are still going. Now we have to figure out, in my opinion, should be figuring out something else for a blow off, because you can't just do another steel cage match. I think that'll be dumb. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I just thought not only did we not getting the advertised match was pretty lame, but also just the fact that it was due to time constraints when there was other stuff on the show that, let's be honest, didn't need to be on the show. That's just me, but I don't know. Both these women going to be in the Rumble this Sunday, I assume, even though they're not announced, but obviously they will be. Becky, very much a chance that she'll win. We'll talk about that more in the Rumble predictions on Thursday, but I don't know. We'll see where everything goes. Just pretty lame part of the show is what it is. First down part of the show after a banger first hour. In another great use of the Legends talent on this show, we got Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Road Dogg, X-Pac, and Kurt Angle, the newest member of DX. He's been in the Shield and he's been in DX. He's been in Main Event Mafia, Team Angle. Kurt Angle's been in a lot of groups over the years, but we had them coming down there. Had a nice little segment with Kurt Angle, which I thought was great. Only, of course, to be interrupted by Imperium, and they were basically telling him to get the hell out of the ring. And some more great comedy here with all of DX stepping up to Gunther and Imperium, being like, well, I'm not gonna fight him. I'm not gonna fight him. Triple H had that great line of, why is everybody looking at me? Like, I'm like, this booking stuff's hard. There's a nice little comedy segment, some classic, obviously not classic DX comedy, but you know, for what they can do. I thought it was a nice little entertaining segment, but of course led to Seth Rollins and the Street Profits coming out there. They make a 6-man tag match official as Teddy Long made his way out, which, listen, I love Teddy Long. Super cool that he was there, got a big pop, all that stuff. But, you know, to me, Teddy Long's a SmackDown guy. You know, he was the SmackDown GM. He might have had a little stint on Raw, you know, in like 2012. I don't know. The point is, he's a SmackDown guy. If anything, they should have brought in Eric Bischoff for this and set Eric Bischoff out there. I know the whole thing with Teddy Long set up the tag team match, but Teddy Long's a SmackDown guy. I'm just saying, even though it was awesome to see Teddy Long, got a big pop, love to see him, they should have got Eric Bischoff for this. And maybe they wanted to or didn't want to, and he didn't want to. I don't know. Maybe there's stipulations that, you know, we're not being presented here. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, Teddy Long, he's a SmackDown guy. Cool to see him be a SmackDown guy. They should have got Eric Bischoff, Eazy-E, to come out there and make this match official. But I digress. Kurt Angle was a special guest referee, and we got a 6-man tag team match. It was a fun little 6-man. Imperium, of course, lost. Obviously, Gunther did not take the pin. I believe Giovanni Vinci took the pin by Seth Rollins. And it was a fun little match here. Seth Rollins, during the fall, we kind of got this little back and forth between Rollins. Is he a heel? Is he a face? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Nobody knew what they were really, doing with Rollins. But over the past month, I'd say, like definitely solidifying it now. Like, I don't think there's any more tweener, blurred lines here. Like, Rollins is obviously a clear-cut babyface, and it just makes it more apparent that they cannot run Rollins versus Cody again at WrestleMania unless it's in, I don't even want to say unless it's in the finals of a WWE title tournament, like we were talking about. That's a rumor, like we were talking about in a recent video, because even that's setting Cody up for a possible disaster, because Seth Rollins is so over as a babyface right now. So I really hope we're not heading towards Rollins versus Cody. Listen, it'd be a great match if that happens at WrestleMania, obviously, but storyline wise, character wise, it just doesn't really make the most sense. Rollins is full-blown babyface right now. I can't see why him facing the other, full-blown babyface that everybody loves, Cody Rhodes, would be the best idea possible. And maybe that's not going to happen. Maybe Cody ends up winning the Rumble and facing Roman Reigns. Again, we'll talk about that in my Rumble predictions on Thursday. But just wanted to throw that out there, because if it wasn't apparent already, the blurred lines are gone. The tweener is gone. Seth Rollins is clear-cut babyface. And honestly, I'm very interested to see what they do with Rollins heading into WrestleMania. I don't see him fighting Austin Theory again. There's the Cody Rhodes match possible. But if it's not one of those two guys, I'm really not sure what they're going to do with Rollins. So, interesting situation. We'll see where it leads. The Nature Boy Ric Flair made his way out to introduce the SmackDown Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. Can't have a special edition of any WWE show, I guess, without them making sure Charlotte Flair gets out there. And listen, I'm not trying to beat up Charlotte Flair. I mean, a little bit I am, but she's not my favorite. We've been over this, but if you guys watch my SmackDown review from December 30th when she made her return, I tried to pull out the positives, and I could at least say that babyface Charlotte is a lot more tolerable than heel Charlotte. Even though I do not prefer her as the champion, I guess it's, I don't want to say it's the best we can get, but I guess it's better than heel Charlotte. But nonetheless, she was on Raw, cutting a promo about the women's division, left out. I thought it was hilarious. I mean, there was other women that she left out. I think the Bella Twins were bitching about it on Twitter or something like that. But naming all these women that helped make her career what it is today, or whatever she said, and she just left out Sasha Banks because she knew the crowd would have just came unglued and would have completely just took over with Sasha Banks' chance, because duh. But yeah, we had that. Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair came out. They had a little, back and forth for a moment until Sonya Deville came out. Yada, yada, yada. There's not much to talk about here. Bianca and Sonya had a match. Bianca won. Alexa appeared on the screen afterwards, cut a promo for Sunday, since we will be getting Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's title at the Royal Rumble. But even though I think all of this was pointless and this should have just all been scrapped and gave that time to Becky versus Bayley, I assume the whole reason for this whole segment and match being on the show was to plant seeds. Besides the little bit of build at the end for Bianca and Alexa, which really didn't need to happen, the whole reason for this being on the show was to plant the seeds for what I assume will be Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. I assume Charlotte will be going in as SmackDown Women's Champion. I'm going to take a guess that Bianca loses the Raw title probably at Elimination Chamber, and somehow, some way, Bianca is going to make her way into the SmackDown Women's Championship match at WrestleMania. I don't think by winning the Rumble or anything, or pulling an edge and jumping somebody before they get into the chamber. I don't know how they're going to go about it, but I just see that being the case. I see Bianca losing the title before WrestleMania and her facing Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's title at WrestleMania. Remains to be seen how we get there, but I do believe that's the whole reason why this segment happened on the show, is to plant the early seeds for that match at Mania. Kevin Owens stunned The Miz twice, cut a little promo for Roman Reigns on Saturday, and that's about that. Kevin Owens is great. Not much more to be said. And then we got our main event, the United States Championship no disqualification match, Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley. And really, ever since Bobby Lashley had that interview backstage earlier in the night where he mentioned Brock Lesnar by name for the first time in a while, since he's been back on WWE, since they did the whole, little suspension thing and whatnot, I kind of assumed that the whole reason they made this match no DQ, and after they planted that seed earlier in the night, was because Brock was going to show up and cause chaos. And that's exactly what happened. The match was, fine for what it was. It weren't really doing too much, playing into the no DQ factor besides a chair and 2 tables at the end, which one of them didn't even get used. But Lashley put Austin Theory through a table, and then basically the second after he hit the table, Brock Lesnar's music hits, showing up for the first time since, I believe, Crown Jewel, which of course Lesnar had beaten Lashley at Crown Jewel, but then Lashley beat Lesnar down afterwards. So Lesnar hit the ring, F5 to Bobby Lashley, and then F5 to Austin Theory, which I thought was cool. Instead of just dragging Theory over, F5 Theory on top of Lashley to help Theory retain the United States Championship. But to more importantly, screw over Bobby Lashley. And then like I said, I think people were saying they basically immediately cut off the air, which you didn't miss anything. So Brock Lesnar just walked to the back. But yeah, it was cool. I was down for a Brock Lesnar appearance. I've very much come to appreciate seeing guys from my favorite time period, the Ruthless Aggression era. I soak them up anytime they're there. Brock, Edge, Rey, Orton, Cena, all these guys that I grew up with. Undertaker, I very much appreciate anytime they're on the show, these days. And especially, if Brock, as long as he's not fighting Roman Reigns for a world title, I'm all for anything Brock's doing. I know a lot of people aren't super interested in another match with Bobby Lashley, but the Royal Rumble match, back last year was very much hindered by Vince McMahon booking and Roman Reigns, them basically just using that match to set up Roman Reigns and Lesnar at Mania. And then the Crown Jewel match I thought was fine. I know some people weren't a fan of the finish, but I thought the match was fine, so I don't really see the big harm there, in my personal opinion. And if anything, I thought the finish was kind of creative. I don't know. I got to go back and watch those a few months, but I don't really have any ill-willed or hate towards their Crown Jewel match. So I'm, looking forward to another one, especially if they make that like a no DQ or something. I think that'd be great. And I don't know when we're going to get it. Maybe the Elimination Chamber, maybe WrestleMania, but if we get it at WrestleMania, then I don't know what Gunther's going to do, since there's plenty of options, but obviously the rumor is Gunther versus Lesnar, possibly at WrestleMania. But if we get Lesnar and Lashley instead, then it opens up Gunther defending the Intercontinental Championship against maybe Sheamus, against maybe McIntyre, or against maybe Seth Rollins, if they want to work some kind of situation out there with Rollins moving to SmackDown. That's, probably unlikely, but just throwing out a random idea on the fly here. But then that was Raw. So overall, I very much enjoyed the show. I thought it was great. I think, WWE and Wells Fargo Center, I think, tweeted out today something like it was the highest grossing Raw, I think maybe ever at the Wells Fargo Center, or something like that. And Raw 30 did some good ratings last night, so it seemed like everything was in the green, everything was positive last night. And even though some of this stuff near the second half of the show didn't really need to be there, it could have gave that time to Bayley versus Becky. That's really my only knock on this show. The first hour was one of the best hours of Monday Night Raw of all time, and I thought Lesnar coming back and setting up another match with Lashley was a positive. So let me know your thoughts down below on Monday Night Raw 30. And as we've talked about in this video, I will be back this Thursday for the 2023 Royal Rumble predictions. Cannot wait till Saturday night. It's going to be a good time. Is The Rock going to be there? Is Stone Cold going to be there? Is Cody winning it? Is Hornswoggle winning it? Who's going to WrestleMania? We're going to find out this Saturday. But thank you very much for checking out this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.